Okay, if somebody's there, just speak. I think nobody's there, so. Ah, Damien. Damien is writing. Peter. Resolution is pretty low. I settings. Output encoder. So I have only one encoder, audio bit rate, so that is for the audio. Stream, and what on the YouTube side? Settings. You should be able to put it, I think, up to 480 dpi. And is that okay? 480? Ah, hi. So Steph is here.
Yeah, but I have to.
Ah, he has to do. So, yeah. So we have 3 persons apparently there: Damien, Alistair, and Peter. So maybe let's wait for somebody else to join.
I sent a mail.
I send a message to the
Discord. Yeah,
general or development. General, I think.
I sent a mail to the mailing list, and I sent a mail to the people registered to the event on the associations.
Okay.
But this is recorded.
But it's recorded, so the main goal is actually not.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is recording. Is this recording?
Automatically by Google, yeah.
Okay, if you say that it automatically records, that's okay. So it was funny. I was setting this up, and Google tells me, you have to wait 24 hours until your account actually gets activated. What? But no, I don't have 24 hours, so I am using Esteban's account.
Okay.
So I am Esteban.
Guiche Esteban.
So wait, I let's talk. So also I was saying it's showing 9 people watching. Okay, so there should be a 10 seconds delay. So just if you have questions, put questions in the maybe in Discord, that would be better. So just in one place, and then as soon as they pile up, we answer. So like that. So 10 people there. Cyril.
So this is good.
Yeah. Should we follow what you say or your poster behind? Yes. So tester c'est douter. It means testing is doubting, and I doubt all the time. So that's why I write a lot of tests. I am an skeptic. So you don't test if you believe that God will care about your code. I don't know about God and code. So should we start? Yeah, okay. So the idea today was to show Pilar, something, it was you? No. So Marcus, turn down the sound. So the idea was to talk about Pilar. So originally it was something that Steph was going to show. So he told me yesterday to prepare something to show because he has to go to a doctor or something like that. So I had only one day to prepare something. So what I'm going to show you is, so for those that don't know Pilar, I'm going to go over it a bit fast. And then I'm going to go over the things that happened in the last month. And I don't know, and then let's just questions. I don't know. If we finish at 5:40, like in 40 minutes, I think it will actually be really good. So, Pilar. So let me check in this. So you can see the the window actually here. So this is the Pillar repository in GitHub. It's under Pillar Markup Pillar. The Pillar Markup organization has a nice logo, which is a Faro pen. My machine is actually really slow right now because of the streaming. So Pillar. So what's Pillar? So Pillar, it's several things actually. So some years ago we had PR. So PR was a CMS written I think originally in Squeak. And so a couple of years ago, Damian Kasu extracted from it the document model from it and started writing tools on top of it to actually generate both PDFs and HTML pages from it. So the main thing around Pillar was originally the document model. Yeah. So there is a document model, and actually there was a markup syntax. Actually, I think Pillar is started, if not at the same time, it may be even older than Markdown, for example. So one of the reasons why we are still keeping this markup language is because it's there. We have a parser and everything works. So we are thinking in the future to actually move to something like to parse Markdown documents and parse them into our document model, but we need to do it. So on one side we have that. We have the document model, we have the syntax and the parsers, and we have also a couple of tools. So there is documentation, there's ways to actually generate websites, slides, books, and so on. So actually, if you see this window, I hope so, yes. So if you go to books.faro.org, so I will not say all the books that are available there, but most of them and all of the new ones actually, they are written in Pillar. So when you see this, so I will not go inside because my machine is really slow, but if you download the PDF of the book, the nice PDF templates and so on, so all the content is written in Pillar, and then it is translated to LaTeX and automatically compiled to PDF by Pillar. So that is kind of one of the things that we can do with this. Now, a couple of years ago also we started with Steph with the idea of generating static web pages in a little project that was named Ecstatic. And well, one of the things that happened is that, okay, we made a prototype, we had it working. Actually, my personal website is written in Pillar using that. So that should be this. So this is actually a website generated from Pillar. So the idea is that we started actually to work on having templates based on Mustache, and the idea to actually be able to change the templates and generate better and nicer websites. So actually, I don't know if somebody of you saw it in the past, but the dbxtalk website, I think it is still on because it's on GitHub pages. It's also generated using Pillar. So we started with these ideas, and one of the things that happens lately is that we wanted to actually, since this was touched by a lot of interns lately, so we started to care about the quality of the code, and we started to do iterations to enhance the quality. So just got a lot of noise. So Cyril, are you okay? So let's do a demo for those that don't know Pillar first. So I will go to my terminal. I will open a terminal. Let me see. I can do this, and you will see a terminal. Yes. So I will start from scratch. So I have already Pillar installed in my machine. So I will not show you how to install it. You have the instructions in the website. I will show you the website. So I updated the instructions this afternoon, so they should work. If they don't work, please open an issue, kill me, I don't know, throw me something. But they should work, at least in Linux. We have also Appveyor CI, an Appveyor CI to test that it works, but Smalltalk CI with Pharo 7, I don't know why it's not working well, so I have to review that. But the idea is that it should be easy to use and install. So it's just cloning and running a script. And then setting up some environment variables. If you want to use PDF, you have to install LaTeX and so on. So if you follow the instructions, there are some Windows specific issues that you have to take care of. So now, once you have Pillar installed, so I will start from scratch. I will do clear. So I will create a directory that will be maybe Pillar sample. So the idea is that I will go inside it. The idea is that actually a website or a book or a PDF document or a slide, actually it's made up of Pillar documents. We can use Pillar and LaTeX on the cloud. I am reading Steph's comment. We are seeing the browser, not your terminal. Ah, sorry. Thanks. So, yeah, so nothing happened yet. So that's okay. So, Steph, I will talk about Travis in a couple of minutes. So, I did nothing yet. So I only created a directory and went into it. So I have nothing inside it. And if you follow the Pillar instructions, you should have Pillar in your path. So you can do Pillar, for example, we have to enhance probably some things, like I would like to have the version of Pillar, but here right now we are showing the version of the VM. We will fix that. But I have a Pillar command here that actually will call Pharo behind. So something that to start actually with the website, the easiest thing, if you start from scratch and you don't have any content, you can actually create an archetype. So for that, actually, we just need to do archetype. And then we have to say Pillar archetype, and then the name of the archetype we have to be where we want. So if you follow, there is a PDF with a lot of documentation that Steph was working on. So, and we will do a couple of iterations on that. So there are 4 or 5 archetypes. There are some that work for PDFs and HTML. There are other ones that where we are working on new HTML templates to make books and personal websites. But they will come. So for now, I will show you the book archetype. That is the easiest one because it will generate both HTML. It has templates to manage both HTML and PDF. So if I do what it did, actually it created some Pillar files, some configuration file, and a support directory. So inside the support directory, actually, there are some files that are used for Pillar. So they are private things. So when you see an underscore directory that is prefixed with an underscore, actually that means that you shouldn't touch it. So those are automatically generated and managed by Pillar. So inside there are pictures and CSS files, JavaScript files, LaTeX templates, and so on. So then what we will see if we take a look at the index.pillar file. So that is actually pillar syntax. So the first line is a heading, so it's a title, and the other two lines below are input files. So we are inserting inside this file the chapter 1 and the chapter 2. So if I take a look at what's inside the chapter 1, for example, chapter 1 chapter1.pillar. So this file actually has a heading level 2, so it's a smaller header. Then it has a logo, it has some text and so on. There are some, so this it's the stars there. I think there are links. So I am not actually, I don't know by heart the syntax, the pillar syntax, as I don't know by heart the markdown syntax. Every time I have the cheat sheet next to me all the time when I am writing this kind of thing. So I cannot tell much more, but then go to the documentation. So we have this kind of pillar files, and if we want to generate, for example, a PDF, I can actually do pillar build PDF. And that will generate, so that will go over all our pillar files. It will generate for each pillar file a LaTeX file or many LaTeX files. It depends on what the writer is doing behind. Actually, the idea is that people shouldn't care about what is happening behind. And then we are just calling LaTeX. So if you want to build PDF, you need a LaTeX installation. If you read the README file for the book template, that is the same as we use for the Faro books, we need some special packages that you need to, so mostly you will need the latest LaTeX installation, because we use some packages that are only available there. So if you want to use the book archetype, update your LaTeX installation, or check out the packages that are listed in the README. They are there. So LaTeX, it takes some time. So at some point we want also to add some kind of makefile mechanism, but we want it to be written in Faro because we want it to be cross-platform. And we also want to reuse it for the Bootstrap and to be able to run the Bootstrap in Windows. So having makefiles is kind of it forces us to install Cygwin and a lot of dependencies that I don't know. And also it forces us to go outside to manage try TextLive 2018 and I have some. Yeah. So also the latest TextLive is complicated. So what was I was talking about? Yeah, we want some kind of makefile mechanism because we want that actually all the build system is running from Faro to describe all the build system in Faro. For the same reason, actually, in the Bootstrap, we want to replace all the scripts, all the bash scripts by Faro code, ideally. But that's in the long term. So please finish compiling LaTeX. Also, it is much slower because since I am streaming, actually it takes much time now. Usually it takes half the time. Okay, so it's finished. If I do an ls, I see actually that the compilation created a result directory. Inside the result directory, I have a PDF directory. And inside that PDF directory, I have all the output. So actually what will happen is that for each pillar file, so here you will see index.pillar, we are generating an index.tex. And for that, and then we are compiling that index.tex. Actually, the same happens for the chapters. So if I go inside result, PDF, chapters, chapter 1, we see that we have the chapter 1 pillar on the chapter 1.text, pillar build PDF index.pillar. I hope that works because I didn't test it this afternoon. So this should just generate the file that I said and not all the files that he can find in the directory. So, Steph, that is how you do it, because Steph was asking me this morning how to avoid the entire compilation of the Seaside book. So the idea is I wanted to be easy to use and written mostly in Pharo because we have to eat our own food. If we don't, actually that's a way to actually enhance our infrastructure all the time. Pillar uses a lot of files, so for example, we need really good support for files and encodings. That was not actually the case a couple of months ago. So we are advancing on that area. So okay, so now if I check result PDF, so if I see now the chapter 1 is we only have the pillar file, but the PDF was not generated. But if we check the result PDF, we have the index.pdf. So I will open the index.pdf so you can see it. I will not open the text file because you don't care. It's LaTeX, it's ugly. So PDF. So I will open it and then I will add it to the sources of the streaming, window capture. Why is it? Yeah. Give me the window. And this is in preview. This one. Yes. So, can you see it? I hope so. I will check in the YouTube, but I have 10 seconds delay, so that's actually that's not so practical. If I block it, okay. So I will just think that it is working, and if it doesn't work, somebody will complain. Yes, okay, so I see it in the YouTube screen. So, so you see, actually by default, we did nothing actually. It will create a book with the date, the author, the name of the book, some copyright stuff that we should. Actually, this is not so configured. We should check it. And then the contents actually, we have. The book is organized in parts, and each part has chapters. And actually, what each chapter is each of the single pillar documents. So this is what we saw before. We have footnotes, pictures, links. There's some links somewhere because yeah, that works as a link. That works okay. There are figures, and there should the links to the figures should be working. I don't know if they are actually, if there are examples in here. It looks like we don't. So, but this is the example thing. So, also just to show you, so I will remove the book stuff here. Okay. So, by default, what we have when we import an archetype is a sample of a project, and in that sample we have some pillar files with some default content, and then we have this pillar.conf file, cat pillar.conf, and this actually is a stone file. This is a file with some stone metadata that includes some metadata that will be used by the different templates. So for example, we have the title of the book, the attribution, which is actually the authors or who is responsible for it, series, keywords, language, and so on, several metadata that will be used. So the top lines are the metadata that are used for generation. So it's actually information about the project, about the document. And the lower lines are actually things that are required by the templates. Because actually, for example, the book archetype requires a special LaTeX writer. So because we use a special LaTeX template, so so these kind of things are configurable through this file. So actually this Stone file, if you take a look, we are not using Stone features, we are just using it as a JSON file. So it's nothing really complicated. So maybe you saw it in the last thing, below the language, we have an EPUB ID. We are also able to generate some EPUB. So I worked one afternoon on that to recover some work from some interns. It's of course not perfect, but we can do it. And they are cool, the EPUBs that we generate. So the copyright page is from a LaTeX specific template. Okay, so that is actually what we kind of do now with Pillar. So I will give you a glimpse of what we have been doing in the last month. Question: what about the support for internationalization? Translate the documentation in another language. Do I need to do a second Pillar project? So yeah, Steph answered the question of Thorsten. So so far it is really simple. The includes are directly included, so we don't use some magical way to discover where the files are, so on. But that may come. So if you have some idea or some piece of code that you want to contribute, go on. That's not. You will see that actually in the repository we have like 130 open issues. That's because Steph puts a lot of to-dos in the issue tracker. So most of them are actually cleanups that we want to do and not actual issues. So we are cleaning up a lot to have something that is more robust and more understandable. So what are we doing? So the first thing that I did a couple of months ago is to work on the CI side. So because actually we were not running tests, Pillar tests for a long time, and the Pillar tests actually they were on a Jenkins job that was half broken. And they were not running actually. So there were only the unit tests that were run. So one of the things that I did was to set up Travis for it. So with many jobs. So wait, I don't see the questions. So right now there are some failing tests. So I was working this afternoon on fixing it, but I didn't have the time to finish. So what are we doing now? So we recovered the CI jobs. We are running them using Smalltalk CI on Linux and Mac. There is an Abeyor also there, but I don't know exactly in which state it is. And we are running actually many different jobs. We are running the unit tests. We are running integration tests that try to actually compile PDFs. So we are actually testing the integration with LaTeX and other stuff. We are testing that actually from Faro itself and not from the command line, we can actually build books and PDFs and HTML. So the idea is to have a pretty good idea of what is broken and what is not broken really quickly. And to me, this is really, if I don't have this, I cannot work, because we never know what's broken or what is not. So this is one of the first things that I needed to do in order to actually work on Pilar. So that's one of the big things that we did. Then if you go over the Guichet, we do not, sorry. Yeah, I'm not used to this. Pilar, Pilar. So I will hide the terminal, and then you see that. Okay, so there are some of them that are actually failing randomly. I think that is Faro's fault. This one that fails in 48 seconds, for example. These ones are, so this one is also that, and this is probably my fault, because the thing is that the changes in the streams are actually impacting a bit on Pilar, so I have to find how to make Pilar work on both Faro 7 and Faro 6 seamlessly, let's say. So okay, so we have this. The good thing is that this is also run for pull requests, so that's actually really good if somebody wants to contribute. The other thing that we did that actually was really just a leap of faith, and we did it before Iceberg was refactored. So we moved the source code of Pilar from entirely from Smalltalk Hubs to GitHub. So actually the main reason for that is because Pilar does not only require Faro code, Smalltalk code, but also it requires scripts or external resources. So we use pictures, we use CSS, we use mustache templates, and so on. So actually, if you want an example of a project using Iceberg now and using external resources, Pilar could maybe be a good target for that as an example. Also, if you want to see some more complicated usages of Smalltalk CI, we do that also because we are actually running different jobs, integration jobs and unit tests, integration tests and unit tests. And that means that we need to actually provide Smalltalk CI with different configurations and so on. So maybe that would be actually a good example for a lot of people. So we move to GitHub. We have now CI. Steph is working on a new documentation. You just have to click here, and that should take you to the booklet and there to the PDF. This documentation actually is in progress. It's work in progress, so we are iterating it. So nothing is finished. So that is why you never saw that. Also an email saying, yeah, we have a new release. So, but I think we are getting things in good shape. So that is one thing. Then another thing that was fun is that let's check this. So because that is something that we were working with Steph and Damian also. So one of the things that Steph was saying is, yeah, okay, I am changing my files in my content in the Pilar files, but then I want every time that I actually commit, I want a new version of the PDF to be uploaded somewhere. So actually we have, if you check, for example, the different booklets that are in the Square Brackets Associates organization, you will see that several of them, actually the ones that use the latest version of Pilar, will also have a Travis CI and a Bintray configuration. And actually, for each commit, we are, every time that we commit, we are building the book and uploading it to Bintray. So you have the latest build of the PDF of your book available. So if you just clone or copy all the content of one of these templates, you will actually have the same. So that is nice. And we are working also on having nice HTML templates for books with a nice table of contents and so on. So that probably we will have it next week. So Steph was saying we can produce all the booklet in the latest dev. All the booklets are managed. So yes, Steph was in a meeting but working on Travis on Pillar. So all booklets are running with the latest Pillar version. So what else? I had a script here. What was I working? So we in the last month also we were doing a lot of cleanups, mainly because before all builds all Pillar actually was orchestrated by makefiles, and there were some meta makefiles to actually to show helps and so on. But the problem with that is that it doesn't run on Windows, so people wanted to run Pillar on Windows. For example, Cyril. Cyril always uses Windows, so he's a good user. And so we had that, and the other things that actually some people were, like Luke was saying, that when using actually the makefile, it was actually really slow, because since part of the process was run on Pharo and part on the makefiles, so actually the makefiles was forced to invoke Pharo many times, and actually the startup of a Pharo image was taking much more than just running the piece of code that we wanted to execute. So that is also one of the reasons why we want to move to something that is full Pharo and just do everything at once. So we were cleaning the makefiles. Now actually there are no more makefiles. Everything is run from Pharo and using OS subprocess. So I was also working a lot on OS subprocess to make it more robust. So soon we will have the new release of OS subprocess working on 64 bits. And that will be actually really good, because that will allow us to run Iceberg tests on 64 bits. So like that, I will know that Iceberg works in 64 bits. So 64 bits. The other thing that we did, that Steph actually did, Steph replaces actually the management of the configuration files, because before it was depending on Magritte and Grease, because Magritte depends on Grease, and actually that was killing us because we couldn't load Pillar on Pharo 7 because of that, and that actually so we remove all those dependencies. We have a new configuration system. From the user point of view, that nothing should change, because the pillar.conf is still a stone file. It changes from the internal part of Pillar, so how we parse and how we interpret each of the arguments. So, but that was a really move forward for us, because that will let us to do better things in the future. So Alistair asks, I was called away, so apologies if this has been already answered. I thought I heard about Docker container with everything, Pillar, LaTeX, etc. installed. Does that exist? Yes, it exists. So I will go back to the Pillar the Pillar repository. Alistair, if you scroll here, or some yes. So if you go to Unix specificities, you will find that there is the link to the Docker container containing TextLive that was built by Damian. So maybe that answers the question. So, Damian, if you rebuild it, let's put version numbers. That's the only thing I want. Gishu, we should add the magic invocation to inject the slash. I don't know what that means. Pillar invocation inside the Docker. To inject the pillar invocation inside the Docker. So you want to run the pillar invocation inside Docker. So you want to do a pillar Docker container. Yeah, that's doable. So while everybody writes, so on the other side of the news, there is Asbat that is working. He's rewriting ISUG website on Pillar, so that would be also a nice thing. He's working on some nice templates that we will have in the future for books and personal websites and so on. There's a Docker with so, and then something that I would like to have, so on the short term, I would like to have first to be able to input Markdown to Pillar. Like that will open us actually to the world because people write Markdown. I'm sorry, yes. And if we write Markdown, we will also be compatible with a lot of external tools that use Markdown, like the Markdown files in GitHub. So GitHub actually interprets Markdown by default. So we should be able to do that too. So that should not be easy, should not be difficult. So there is already in the wild there a parser, a Markdown parser for Faro, but it doesn't produce a PR document model. So that is the missing part. So that is one. I think that is an important step that will give us a lot of flexibility and power in the future. The other thing is the makefile thingy that I was talking about. Then I was thinking about something else. What else? I don't remember. So the build boots the Docker. Boots the Docker image with TL, TextLive, install Faro Pillar, then build the booklet. We will use this for all books that I get marked for now. We don't use it anymore, we should keep it for the possibility of our people. Then, actually, one of the big things that we have to do is to enhance the documentation. And actually, if I check here what we have, because I have a really bad memory, that is why I have to write down everything. Otherwise, I don't work. Yes. So yeah, what we want to do also is to be able to not only execute code, to be able so right now when you have code blocks inside the Pillar, we want to also to be able to run tests to test the code that is inside, so have kind of set up and tear down inside. Wait, doesn't. Okay. We want also to have support for blogs when we generate HTML. Review the way one. I want a really cool. We need a good support for warnings and errors, because right now it is not so good. We are just showing the LaTeX output, and that is not so good. Can you show? Yes, I will show. So far, Pillar is mostly on command line. Is there a Pharo-based UI? Actually, it is. I don't know if it is still working because I didn't touch it. So, but the idea is that we should. That was my point that I forgot. We should be able soon to actually have a mini Pillar inside Pharo and to have class comments written in Pillar. Yes. So there's no editor yet, but actually everything that we do from the command line, the command line is only just is only calling some Pharo object. So everything that we do from the command line, we can do it from Pharo itself, and that we should document it also, because people should be able to script stuff from a web service, or I don't know, whatever you want. Yes. So that is doable. I have to document it. I promise that I will do it. Then Steph told me to show the new ISO website, is.github.io. So this is so far. We have to work a bit on the CSS. So I hope you're taking a look at it. Yes. So well, we have still some work to do on the CSS, but we have almost all the content migrated. Yeah, let's show all the sponsors and the prices and so on. So actually we have, it's a static site. There's nothing really special in it. Display render. We need it for, yes. So we also will, this is not so nice. It should be on the bottom. We should check a bit the CSS, but we are not designers. That's the problem. So yes, Tudor, he did a demo some time ago. So for those that are not reading, about having an editor in the image for Pillar code and a renderer for it. We also have a little prototype made by a student like 2 years ago, Frank. So, but yes, we should have it because we should eat our own food. Otherwise, the infrastructure will never get better. So there's no point in doing it otherwise. And then, yeah, we want to have blogging. We want to have also, because, okay, here, this is a research center, so we need to have plugins to actually manage the publications on a website. So to extract them automatically from the BIP files and so on. But all those will be plugins and not necessarily syntax elements of forced into Pillar. We can refresh it. So then, yeah, we'll have support for blogging, RSS feed. One of the things that we are checking is about the blogging. So the blogging, the comments are easy to handle using some. There are some services that actually provide you with the hosting of the comments with some login and so on. So there's nothing else nothing much to do. But the thing is how to provide a good search, because this is a static website, so that means that we need to maybe generate static search information, I don't know, so a static index. So that still I don't know. I was checking how other systems like Jekyll do, and I don't know, most people use just Google search. They embed a Google search inside their site, and that's all. So yeah, one of the things, so in the roadmap, so what we will have in the next 3 weeks, as Steph is saying. So one of the things is that we have to finish some of the templates to have some nice CSS, and once that's finished, we will actually move all the books to that new format. And once we have that, we will put automatic deploy for all of them, not only for PDF, but also for HTML sites. So we will have all books in HTML, indexable, in GitHub pages. So that is in the short term. Something that actually a tool search for you. Okay, so I will check that. So actually some of the templates that we are using now, they are based on Hugo templates, and the only thing is that since we don't use Hugo, because we don't have a Hugo implementation, and Hugo actually lets you do it a lot of things like coding inside your HTML. And I am not so sure that is nice. So we are still sticking with Mustache. That is much simpler, and that was written by Norbert. And we took some of the Hugo templates and we rewrote part of some of them using Mustache. So they put Go inside the HTML. It's even worse. It's not Go. It's something else. So it's like writing an old GSP thing. Yeah, that is what I was thinking about. So generate a static index and use a JavaScript library to access it using Ajax. But yes, there's no magic. Peter is writing. Some project clearly demonstrating the benefit of having everything in Faro. Parts of the model from something extended syntax that executes some custom stuff. Syntax executes. I don't quite understand Peter's question. So far, actually, what we are thinking about is that we don't want to extend the syntax. Actually, what we want to do is to support plugins. And those plugins, actually, they will not add new syntax, but they will add annotations. So you will have annotations that will be interpreted differently, and that is what plugins will provide. So that is the way to extend syntax. So there will be no new elements. So there are the curly braces that will be used differently. So
I can reply to the question of Peter because
yeah, okay.
I understand it well. So what it means that we've this is a really good question. This is what can we do more with Pillar. So you can. So the first in Pillar you have inside a way to extend the tags. So this means that, for example, I am writing plugins where you just said, okay, this is my bib file, those are the language that I want to use, and it will generate automatically your bibliography, your publication, sorted and things like that, by just gluing to cite them. But then, by default, what Clément is doing in the virtual machine, in the little virtual machine book, is that he can include directly scripts that goes on the Smalltalk and ask, for example, for the bytecodes and things like that. So this means that you can really script the system. Now, after you should pay attention because this means that people could script your web. So that's why we should run that into a Docker system. Like that, you are protected if you put that on the web.
So one of the things that so we will document actually the different patterns to extend Pillar, because you can extend the visitors, you can create new visitors, you can extend existing visitors. If you want to add, for example, you can extend also the document model by adding new AST nodes, but that means that probably you will also want to add new ways to visit those nodes. So there are different kind of extensions that you can do, and we have to document better. So what is good for each of the, and how to do each of the different extensions. But yes, so it is possible to have hooks in the generation phase.
Sure.
Yes. And if there is a problem or not, we can add it. So it's software. I am using Sphinx and I do.
Yeah, Clément is doing that heavily on his book.
And SiteSen also works like that. So the SiteSen is the plugin that Steph is doing for generating the.
And Damien did the SiteSen.
Okay. Which Damien?
No,
Pole. Okay. So for managing the BIP files and generating automatically the bibliography.
And Peter, you don't need new syntax. Huh?
Yeah, he understood that.
Okay. So Peter, do you have some example of what you do with Sphinx?
Do we have thing?
The booklet of
SiteSen.
No, the booklet of building a VM in blah blah blah. This is because Clément started to write the booklet in Word, and then after he switched to Pillar, just because of that, because he could script everything.
It is here, or it is in Clement?
No, it is here. That should be somewhere.
Let's look for it.
It should be booklet. No. I don't remember what is the name. Maybe Exploring VM.
Maybe. Updated in January.
Okay. So
Maybe.
Yes.
Bytecode compilation, kernel construction.
Yes. So if you go to stack management.
Stack management.
Yes. In stack management Pillar. Yeah. You see, he even loads. He's loading his code so that after he can query the code and do these kinds of things. So for Astares, the hook, you have them at the level of the. You have them at the level of the visitor. So right now, this is not like not programming. You could inject something into the specific place of the generation. What we should think of, this is when we generate HTML, we should really have a pattern to map to the CSS. To say, okay, when you introduce a new item into the model, for example, a new element into the model, you should know that it will be attached to a given class, a CSS class. Like that, we can extend the design of what is generated. Right now, we are really in a stabilization phase where all the books can be compiled with the latest version, and then we should release something where by the end of May, beginning of June, that is the 7 stable version where people can write books, write the website with a pillar. And then after we will do probably another cycle to clean a bit more what we found when we were really digging into it. And I should run. Yes.
Yeah, it's already 6. So let's answer Peter's question, and then if somebody has another question, send an email. So maybe we should add maybe a pillar room here in Discord. So there's Torsten also talking. Example of a plugin I am using. Example of simple extension of my own. But what does it do? It goes to Trello and looks for something, or Trello is something else. Ah, okay. So Peter is asking if, for example, we could extend pillar to add an annotation and put there the ID of a Trello card. For example, Trello is a kind of project management tool that has a cardboard with the typical columns in progress, to do, doing, finish, and so on. And if we could extend pillar, for example, so pillar, when it builds, will query automatically the Trello application and ask, for example, the status of the tasks and so on. So I think it should be doable. So let's do one thing. Let's talk about it as soon as I finish this iteration. So in 2-3 weeks or so, or I don't know if you're using it, if you're finishing your thesis and you don't have time. Can you open an issue in Pillar so I don't forget, please? I know, but so the best way to actually be sure that we can create them is that I build something similar. But so just open an issue to say, I would like to be able to create that. And at least the minimal thing that I should do is to build an example and documentation about how to do it. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what will be the values in. So actually, I am working also in another projects with other teams that don't use Faro, and they use Funks. things. I don't know. So what I would tell you is that the main feature is that Pillar will be integrated with Faro as Sphinx is integrated with Python. So if you are not doing Faro related stuff, it's maybe the same. So stava in un documento di sono di partial concept. So Torsten is writing since half an hour ago. Very specific. Coilometer in 4 as part of a pillar. Yes, so what we will have, so for Torsten, so for example, Steph is working on SiteSen, and in the SiteSen plugin actually what it will do, so what it does actually, because it was working this morning, it actually takes a BIP file, it parses it, and it generates things that will be introduced into a pillar file, not into a pillar file, but into the chain of compilation. So the generated file will have the results of something that is dynamically generated from there. Now there were three kind of solutions that we could think about from what kind of output the plugins should generate. So either a plugin generates directly output code. For example, if you are generating HTML, the plugin could generate HTML directly, but actually that would mean that the plugin will be really tied to an output format, a particular output format. The other was actually to write pillar code that has to be parsed afterwards. So, and the third one, that is actually what we were thinking about to do at the end, is that the plugins actually generate pillar AST directly. So dynamically, we can generate dynamically not code, but objects that represent the pillar code. So it is doable. So we do it for BIP files. We can do it for something else. But in any case, so there are two things. One thing is that the generated site or the generated PDF, they are always static so far. So there's no server. So the content will be static at the end. So what you can do is to add some dynamicity to the generation, some scripting capabilities and so on. Cyril, shoot. one advantage Pillar could have in the long term. Yes, yeah, but in any case, I don't think that the question Sphinx versus Pillar is interesting so far, because any of them have actually there is no much difference between them. So the big difference is that is the integration with the system, with the underlying system. If you want to use Sphinx to document Java code, it will not work as well as it works with Python. So the same goes with Pillar. You can use Pillar to document Python code, but it works better with Farb. So we will provide the booklets in the future beside PDF, and also, yes, we will have, so the booklets will be both in PDF and HTML, I hope in 1 or 2 weeks. And EPUB, yes and no. So EPUB is available. We can generate an EPUB, and there are some limitations. So the main thing is that most of our books are using figures written in. So all the figures are PDF figures. So that works good for PDF output, but not for HTML or EPUB, even less for EPUB. So actually we have to be able to automatically migrate all the PDF figures to PNG or something like that, I don't know, or SVG. So, and then maybe, because actually what we are generating for HTML is HTML5 so far, but EPUB doesn't work with HTML5, so it works with XHTML4 or something like that. So there is a bit of a mess because of technological limitations, mainly with the figures. But that means that we need to adapt the content. The EPUB is really simple, so you can check. So there was actually something done by some interns a couple of years ago. So I took that and made it work first. So I adapted I tried to make, so it's a single page EPUB so far, what we are generating. We're not generating a multiple page EPUB. And what else? But I think that with the support of the table of contents that we are adding for the books, that will be easier for the EPUBs. And I also, when I was making it work, I was using the latest EPUB standard. I don't know if that was a right call, because I don't know if that works with every EPUB reader in the world, but I was following the standard that is online. About completeness, I am pretty sure that it's not complete at all, but it works. So. Before I ask you a question that was not answered, you said that Pillar now uses OS to process. Yes. Does it also use process wrapper? Yes. Because I think it's yes. So for Windows, we are using process wrapper. Pablo was checking this last week if we can actually use FFI to re-implement process wrapper, because process wrapper is a mess. I don't know if you checked the implementation. So right now, actually, when you download process wrapper, there is a DLL that is downloaded when you dynamically when you load the configuration, and that DLL is downloaded from a file server that is somewhere in the world, and the code to compile that DLL is in that same file server. It is not versioned anywhere, and I don't know if it compiles or not. So, and it has many limitations, and it produces a lot of crashes if you don't use it well. So I can give you like 10 different ways of crashing your VM using process wrapper by just using, so using it without care, but not doing strange stuff, just trying to call an ls and crashing. The code that works, what do you mean? Ah, okay, so you know them. Yeah, okay, so yeah, process wrapper, it works if you know how to use it. So but in any case, I would like to have a single API to manage both Windows and Linux. So Pablo was checking that. I don't know where it is. Maybe have a look at my iOS Windows project too. Yeah, no, he's not doing. So I will check that, but he's actually only trying to see how the spawn process and forking and so on. So I thought that OS Windows doesn't do that. So it is wrapping part of the Windows API, but it's not work. It is not providing what OS process does. No. I spent 2 days creating a facade of Synetic to get working. Yeah, but still, for example, if you want to in process wrapper to set the working directory of a process, you cannot. Actually, you have to do a CD before, right? Before doing it, and so there are some things that you can do through the Windows API, but are not exposed. And also, apparently, Windows have support for pipes. I don't have any idea of it. So, but there is support for pipes and all the things that actually there are that we have in Unix, and we can use them. So I don't know how reliable that is, but so wrapping up. To wrap up, pillar. So if you have some question, maybe we should add a pillar room here in Discord. That would be actually good. In any case, just send an email if you have a question or if you have something. Does Catalog have the latest pillar version? Nope. No, because the latest is in development. So there is only a baseline and nothing else. So when we do the release, we will do the release with probably a configuration in the catalog, changes log, and tags here and there and everything. No, Pillar uses process wrapper in no, also process in non-Windows system, yes, and process wrapper in Windows system. Yes, it is incompatible. And I don't know, so I don't know why, because I never looked into that. And I don't know if that is actually, if it is doable to actually make them compatible. So, but that we should maybe ask, put Mariano in the loop. The thing is that Mariano is really busy lately, so I don't know if that will be possible. But we are praying for the player to. set up for a booklet quickly with Pillar. Clone an existing one, or is there an archetype? There's no archetype. So there is a booklet that Steph was writing that is how it is called. We go here. Oh. So the booklet is called Publishing a Booklet with Pillar, a Pillar booklet, and it should guide you. The version that is in PDF, it is not the latest one. I should check why, but it should guide you to through creating a booklet from Pillar. Otherwise, I think that using the archetype, the book archetype is enough. You don't need to do much more. What we don't have in the still for Torten, what we don't have. So if you use an archetype, what you will not have is all the Travis infrastructure, and if you want to reuse that, probably it's much easier if you just clone or copy the contents of an existing repository. So you just clone, you keep the Pillar conf, you keep the Travis files and so on, and then you throw away all the content and you build from there. So that could be a good solution also, if you want to reuse all the infrastructural parts. Cyril, yes. Do you want to help me to write documentation, please? So if you check the PDF that is here, there is already the cheat sheet, an explanation of the syntax. There will be a tutorial on installation, but for now you can follow the README. And for changing, what is missing is how to change the templates and how to write templates and so on. But otherwise, I think that with the things that I showed today, that are 4 lines of code, and this, the PDF, should be enough. And you don't see my cursor, so that's maybe I can write. No, I don't know how to write it. But all documentation should be ready when when the release will be there. So just so in any case, if you have something that you don't like, complain. So I don't care about. So I can sometimes be grumpy, but if you complain, that actually forces us to do better things. So when you will close to the release, ping me. I'm trying to find something to follow documentation on Windows. Yes, please. We need Windows testers always. There are really few of them. So yeah, I am sorry about that. I was not there, so I already removed all the makefile stuff. So that should be already something good for you. Okay. Thanks to everybody. So I will close now because I am hungry. And I am tired, and it's really warm now, so it's So thank you to everybody for listening. So sorry for listening to me. And I don't know. Let's. So I will try to talk with somebody to create a pillar thingy around here in Discord, and let's keep it moving. So I think we need users, so that's also a good thing. No, thank you. I didn't prepare it. I didn't have the time because I knew it yesterday. So I am really sorry. In any case, so thanks and see you around. Ariho, sayonara. Ta 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 ta.
No.